where it gets you right behind the hamstring and it lifts your leg up.
Oh,
I was like, oh,
I'll show you,
man.
I got some good. And I knew that his objective was to make me quit. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to fight this guy. I'm just going to take this beating, and I'm going to like try my best to defend and deflect these shots like as they're coming in as best I can. And, just try to minimize the damage and just last the whole 25 minutes.
All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So Mitch Aguiar, the Navy SEAL that was in the cage with Sean the other day, the video everybody's been watching. I had the pleasure of having him onto the channel last night. I'm going to share this interview with you guys. I had the intention of chopping it down, but I got to be honest with you, there was very little that I could trim without feeling like I'm selling Mitch short, because his story is amazing in terms of why he was doing this, number one. And candidly, that's the most important thing. Bottom line, and I made sure that I put the chunk of that up front. So if you want to just hear about the fight, or you want to just hear about any part, I'm going to put chapters in the description so you can jump around if you want. But I would highly encourage you to watch this entire interview, because when you understand why he was doing this and why he was in the situation that he was in, if you don't respect him after that, I won't have anything for you. I really, if anything and anyone has ever earned your respect with something that they did, this is that. At least for me. Obviously, this is you'll understand when you see it why it was so meaningful for me personally. But so yeah, there's a couple parts where I'll kind of sprinkle in a little bit of commentary where I'm just going to go, okay, now in this section, yada yada. Just because when I watched it back, I was like, well, I want to make sure that I say this. But for the most part, this is just going to be the conversation between me and Mitch, and it was a pleasure having him on. He is as advertised, a total badass, and I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and like the video and share it with your friends, and let's get into this thing. Oh, also, if you want to support Mitch, links to all of his stuff is also going to be in the description, his charities, his Instagram, all of that. I am sure you're going to want to, so those will be down there as well. How did that come about, and how did you end up there doing that sparring session?
Yeah, so I actually used to train out at Black House MMA in LA with Kenny Johnson and them, and Sean Strickland. That's where I first met him, and we trained briefly there. This was back in 2016, I want to say, something like that. So somewhere around there, and then. I had met a bunch of UFC fighters there, obviously, and I would just go there and do, a couple weeks at a time there. And then fast forward, Sean had come to UFC Norfolk. He fought on that card, and he needed a place to cut weight. And Kenny hit me up and asked, if because I had a sauna at my house, because I was fighting all the time too. And I was like, yeah, of course. So come on over. And Sean came over, and he actually cut weight for that fight in my house in my sauna. And
really?
Yeah. So we knew each other, we were acquaintances, but never really hung out or anything like that. We were never friends per se. Just kind of had mutual friends with Kenny Johnson, and like I said, those two, brief interactions with each other, and we followed each other on Instagram and stuff. We have very similar views, really, both really outspoken and everything.
Yeah.
He's on he's on his third Instagram, and I'm on my fifth. So,
yeah, I know. Jeff told me you've what's the biggest one that you built before you got shit canned?
My original account was my biggest. I had 370,000 followers, and I was verified on there, back in the day before you could just buy it for $10, whatever. Yeah. And it was a big deal, So yeah, that was definitely that was the most powerful and valuable thing I possessed, was my Instagram account. And, literally, that's how I ran, how I made money and everything, and with my company, Massive Supplements. And yeah, and because of COVID and all the communist type, censorship and ridiculousness that we experienced over COVID, I ended up getting my account deleted. And then, I just was going ham after that, and they deleted my account four other times. So, yeah. Now I'm basically at a place where like I can't afford to speak the truth anymore, speak my mind, and so I'm just kind of letting everyone else handle it from here on out, and I'm just trying to rebuild my page. So my current Instagram's up, I think it's just past like 82,000 followers.
Nice.
Now, so rebuilding slowly but surely, and things like this sparring session with Sean, definitely there is much less painful ways to market yourself or whatever. But you got to do what you got to do sometimes. And just with the way this all played out or whatever, I thought it would be a good opportunity to, help draw some eyes back over to my account. So I had given him some smashing greens and smashing reds before, we sparred or whatever. And afterwards I was sitting there on the bench and the camera, was looking at me or whatever. And he came up and he grabbed the smashing greens. He was like, I don't know what the fuck's in these smashing greens, but I think I'm going to have to start taking them.
Yeah.
And I was like, worth it.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, like that makes it even more gangster. Like the purpose was exposure to rebuild your Instagram that you got booted up. Do you remember what you said that got you kicked off the first time?
I think I posted a video of me in New York City. I had a bullhorn on the streets of New York City, and I was saying the vaccine does not stop you from getting COVID. The vaccine does not stop you from spreading COVID.
Oh, look at that. Oh, you got banned for that, huh?
Misinformation.
Hey, what, how does that decision age, guys? I live in Texas because we lived in California and they tried to force us to put that shit in our kids. And we were like, and sayonara, California.
Yeah. I mean, and at the time, honestly, like there was so much fucking bullshit going on with our country and like tyranny and like legit, like this is the most tyrannical shit we've ever experienced in our lifetime. And like, it's not okay. Like it's not fucking okay. And like, I'm a Navy SEAL. Like I literally went over and fought in fucking Afghanistan for, for freedom and our constitution and all this shit. And now like you're trying to pull this shit and everybody's just being quiet about it because the social media overlords like run the shit and they're threatening people to lose their livelihoods and everything. And
I lost the channel over it too. I lost the YouTube channel over it. A lot of people were quiet
about it, and I was like, dude, this is serious. This is not something that like men need to step the fuck up and like, like make something happen, like actually unite, like actually fucking stand up and say, fuck this. It was insane. It was an insane time. And, it definitely like it crippled. And when Instagram deleted my account, I mean, literally 95% of my sales from my company came from my Instagram, and the Instagram was the only platform that I had. Yeah. It was the only thing I had, like the only thing I built or whatever. And I mean, we had done multi millions of dollars in sales just from my Instagram, so it was,
and they just literally took it away because you said facts
gone,
things that are objectively true.
It's absolutely true. And it's widely accepted as truth now, but then it was misinformation, and they just deleted it and it fucking crippled my business. And, and it's like, it's not just me it affects. Like I employ a lot of people and like their families depend on this paycheck. But anyway, it was a fucking shit show and I'm still, recovering, I'm still rebuilding from that. And, hence this whole thing. But, but anyway, it was cool.
It's funny that it was so catastrophic to your business. And yet you still got 3 more accounts deleted because you would rebuild them. Like I'm being serious. It's like kind of funny, but not really at all. It's like you prioritized the things that you needed to say over the business, like the security of your business. It's like, we thought it was that important.
to me, it was like, this is more important than this is bigger than me. You know, like this is like literally our country, you know, is facing tyranny, and
I totally agree with you.
And there's a lot of people that are scared. There's a lot of people that are confused. There's a lot of people that don't know what to do. They're looking for guidance and leadership. And, you know, I didn't have a ton of influence, but 370,000 followers that were very, engaged when I built that from the ground up organically, you know, and being a Navy SEAL, like people kind of look at you and like, well, as a leader, you know, and at the time, nobody with a fucking bigger platform than me, you know, was saying anything. And I'm like, okay, where the fuck are all you leaders at? Like, you know what? In the absence of leadership, you need to lead. And I felt like it was too fucking important not to, you know, like, I'm not just going to worry about myself and my own little, you know, pot of gold here. Like, this is some real shit that needs to be addressed. And yeah, and it fucking cost me millions of dollars, literally. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and I still have not recovered from it. And it sucks.
What was the response you got when you were in New York with the bullhorn, like at the time?
The majority of people were, you know, on like in agreement. And I was saying, like, you know, like, cause in New York, it's very much like dense population, and like, there's tons of people everywhere, but everyone keeps to themselves pretty much. You know, they have their headphones in, they're, you know, just they don't bother people. They stick to their own. And I was just saying on the like megaphone, like, you know, don't be afraid to like speak up. Like you guys, a lot of you feel the same way and you don't know it, you know? And then people were kind of like coming together, and there was crowds forming and shit. And they're like, yeah, this is this is going on, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I just felt like it was important to lead, you know.
It's amazing how Elon buying, I knew this was going to happen too. As soon as Elon bought Twitter, I was like, I don't think the world understands what just happened, because their monopoly is over now. Like,
that was so important, especially that platform, because that platform, you can, you know, attach the articles and everything easily. And it's just very, very good for news, you know, and for spreading information like that. That is the best platform for that. And it
made the other platforms have to fall in line to an extent too, because like if all the platforms are like, that's misinformation, then that's misinformation. If you know, one of the big three is like, no, we're actually going to let people say what's real.
We're gonna have a conversation.
We're gonna have a conversation here. And if they're throwing studies up here and this, you like, they can't just ban people for that, because everyone's just gonna go over to that platform. So like, there's like a competitive aspect to it that makes them have to change the way that they engage on stuff. You know what I think is really funny? Like Mark Zuckerberg being as tight with Dana as he is hilarious to me, because you know that the board and all those guys over there are wigging out over that, because that's real close to Trump for Zuckerberg, who's, you know, one of the most powerful people in the world. If Zuck flip sides, if Zuck just goes, you know what, fuck all you guys, I'm with Dana and these guys, that blows their world apart completely.
I hope he does. You know,
so do I.
And you know, it was funny because I saw a lot of people kind of sucking Mark Zuckerberg's dick when he started doing jujitsu, and you know, that a lot of those same people that were bitching about him, you know, with censorship and all this stuff, but now it's kind of like, oh, well, now he's actually close in my world kind of proximity. Maybe I can, you know, be friends with him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not like that. Like,
I see this strategy. I'm like, bring him in and let's flip him, dude.
Okay, but I'm real, you know, and if I don't fuck with you, I don't fuck with you. And I'm not going to pretend to. And, you know, and I commented on his, like that post he made about his jiu-jitsu tournament or whatever, the first one he did. And I was like, yeah, cool. Congratulations. Yeah. I'm a former SEAL and a black belt. And, you know, your censorship basically ruined my fucking business. And, you know, like, thanks a lot. Hope to see you on the mats.
Yeah. I would have a similar thing if I were you as well.
I am all for like people seeing the light and, you know, coming over. And that would be wonderful. I'd welcome him with open arms if that was the case. But
it would be it's hard. It's got to be hard to be a person who believes in all that leftist bullshit and be serious and in the martial arts community, especially jiu-jitsu. Like that's who he's spending his time with. That's where I'm like, dude, he's still a fucking human. Eventually people are going to start talking to him about whatever. And like, you know, I mean, I think there's a lot. I don't even know if him starting to kind of see the reality of what's going on would even necessarily make a huge impact over there. Cause there's probably so much other shit going on between, you know, how they're implementing censorship and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing on earth that I disagree with more than the censorship shit. You know, yeah. I just thought, like, I think about it as a war, and it's like, if we could fucking win that one on that kid, that hurts him real bad.
Yeah.
Real bad.
And that was also one of the things I loved about Sean Strickland. You know, he was very outspoken and not afraid to speak his mind. Luckily, like, he had the backing of the UFC's platform, you know, so even if they deleted him, he's not going anywhere. He's still on those stages at the press conferences saying whatever the fuck he wants to say.
They can't get rid of him.
Thank God for Dana White being like a fucking free speech absolutist, you know, and Dana White's the fucking man. He, you know, he's a badass. He doesn't fucking answer to anybody. He doesn't give a fuck. And, you know, he believes in freedom. He's not afraid to speak his mind, and he allows the fighters to have their freedom of speech. And, you know, I couldn't respect him more for that. And,
me neither.
You know, and it's really, that has also really helped Sean become a superstar, you know, and become like the people's champion, you know, so it's fucking super cool. And I'm super happy for Sean and all his success. And, you know, and I'm thankful for this opportunity that I got to share the ring with him and, you know, kind of bring some closure to this whole thing in a sort of positive way, you know, like, he got to prove his point, beat the fuck out of a SEAL. And like, you know, I'm not taking it personally. I know what it was. I'm a fighter. And
you didn't quit.
No. And I, you know, I didn't quit. And it changed his, you know, like, perception of like, okay, well, fuck, maybe these guys are tough. And, you know, and then we hung out afterwards. We went to the UFC PI afterwards, and I got in the cold plunge in the jacuzzi back and forth for like 2 hours, and you know, and we just sat there and talked for that time, and you know, really got along well, and you know, he was like nothing but positive to be around, and so, you know,
anyone who knows him personally, I've never heard anyone who like knows him say a single negative thing about it. Like, everyone who's spent time with him in person really, really likes him. Okay, so here's where we're going to get into the why, how this came about, Sean talking about Navy SEALs, and then Mitch responding and all of that stuff. So I did, you know, obviously I misordered some things, but this is where he gets into that part of the story. So enjoy.
At some point, you know, a while ago, he had just made a random post, you know, just kind of ranting in his car, like he does sometimes. Like, I think he just, you know, has a thought and he just shares it, you know, and no filter. He's raw and real, you know, and I've always respected that about him. But he had said something about like, I'm sick and tired of, you know, everybody thinking these Navy SEALs are so badass. You know, you think you're badass, come train with me, I'll fucking break you. And you know, and I knew what he was talking about. He was referring to, like, you know, because there's people out there that think like just because you're a Navy SEAL that you're some like you can just go in there and shot, like, you know, do some secret squirrel shit on a UFC champion, and, you know, because you're a Navy SEAL you're gonna win, and that couldn't be further from reality, you know. And they're just two very different skill sets and everything, you know. And definitely both in the same kind of realm with like violence and, you know, that kind of stuff, but totally different also, you know, like one is tactics and you know, weaponry and team, you know, unit moving and stuff like that. Where, you know, in the cage, it's you're in the cage fighting another man, you know, in the vessel that you were brought into this universe with. And I obviously I do both, and I've done both, but you have to understand, like, and everyone out there has to understand, there's levels to shit, and there's levels to everything, and you know, and unless you are just all in on what you're doing, and that you're dedicated to your craft, and that's your life. Like, you're not going to get to that highest level unless you're doing that and in anything you're doing. And Sean, Sean is one of, the best fighters on the planet, period. But, in his division, middleweight, he was the UFC champion.
I think he still should be. I think he won.
And a lot of people do. I think he did. And that's the pinnacle, like, he is the best in the world at middleweight, and middleweight, for those you don't know, is 185 pounds. That's what you weigh in at. That's not what you're walking around at. So Sean's a big guy too,
What does he weigh? What's
I think he weighs around 220, 225, somewhere in that range. He's a big guy.
People don't know how big fighters are walking around. Like, that's the thing that's so, you meet them in person and you're like, oh, all right. Like, Alexander Rakic, 205. And then you meet him in person. You're like, that guy's a fucking beast, dude. He's like 6'5", 240. It's like all of every single fighter that I've ever met in person, I was shocked by their size.
That was definitely something that I noticed, when I was fighting, because I was fighting while I was active duty in the SEAL teams just for fun on the weekends. I was like, oh wow, I can go over here and fight and not go to jail. This is awesome. It's not a big deal, and it's like, this is a good thing. And with Sean, he's been fighting since he was a teenager, I believe, and and his style. I mean, he likes to spar, and that's what I've always respected about Sean, is he is a true fighter. There are a lot of fighters out there that are kind of pussies, and it's almost like they like the thought of being a fighter, or like the reputation or the name of it, but when it comes to the actual mentality, it's like they only really want to take fights that they're almost certain they're going to win. And where, like, Sean, he's sparring Francis Ngannou. Like, no fear in that fucking dude.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a huge like benefit to his and reason why he's so successful is, I always say fighting is 90% mental and the other 10%'s in your head. It's all in your head, and
train the muscle memory and then bring your brain.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do it.
His mindset towards fighting is he is fucking game. He is a dog. He is ready to fucking fight. He's not scared at all. And that is a big, hesitation will get you hurt, or, and everything like that. And he, and also just the repetition. He's sparring four or five times a week sometimes. Like, back in the day, it was. And
I think he spars more than that now. Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't surprise or wouldn't doubt that at all.
Yeah.
And so I had no delusions that I was going to go in there and beat Sean Strickland or anything. Yeah. I very much knew that there are levels to this, and just me being in both of those worlds, like it, and knowing Sean a little bit, like having a little bit of brief rapport with him, like I thought it would be, fun to just accept his challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
And, but the MMA is a brutal sport, and fighting, it's also unique. Like, not many people want to do it, or, there's a ton of athletes out there that are freak athletes that want nothing to do with getting punched in the face or kicked in the face. It takes a special type of person to kind of enjoy that and want to do that. So anyway, like, I knew what Sean meant by, his video or whatever. He's talking about, like, coming over here and actually sparring with, like, a professional fighter. You're going to get your ass beat. And like, he would make you quit, and I knew that was his whole, what he intended, but it didn't get received that way. And everybody was, up in arms and kind of pissy about it. And, and like, Sean is a patriot, like, he really is. And, like, he's a little bit, not super polished with his delivery sometimes, but then again, neither am I. So, but anyway, I understood. So I was like, oh, that would be fun to like, you know, we could play this up and I can go out there and spar him. And I was fully ready to just get my ass beat. And, you know, and I figured it'd be good promotion. It'd be entertaining as hell for people, like with the build up, you know, and it did. It got like a ton of attention and went like viral multiple times on his call outs and everything. Or his,
dude, my video on your guys's, like on it is the fastest video to ever hit. Like, I don't even know where it's at now, but it got to 250,000 views in like 18 hours. That's the fastest video's ever gotten there ever.
I knew that like once we, you know, I messaged Sean and I was like, hey dude, I was like, I'm going to be out there in Vegas. I was like, it's going to be International Fight Week. You should hit up Nina and like, you know, we'll make like a whole thing of this. And I was like, I said like, I'm have no delusions of winning. I'm sure I'm going to go out there and get my ass beat, but it'll be entertaining and fun for everyone to watch. So I'm fucking game. Let's go.
Yeah. But yeah, like on this one, it was like, maybe it's because I know a bunch of you guys that I'm like, I understand you guys' brains. And I'm like, dude, he didn't go out there to win. If nothing else, he's like, he went out there to like, you asked for a 25-minute fight, right?
I didn't ask for that. I don't know where that came from. I think Jake Shields, he originally put it on his Twitter. And,
yeah.
And
that's
Jake,
where I saw it.
And Jake put that I asked for 5-minute rounds.
Yeah.
Let me be crystal clear. I certainly did not fucking ask for that.
I was like, that is fucking crazy.
Yeah,
but
no,
nonetheless, you stayed in there for 25.
I definitely did not want to spar 5-minute rounds with Sean Strickland. But and I asked Sean, like, you know, I was just down for whatever he wanted to do. I was down. Yeah. And that was the point. You know, I'm just here. I'm showing up. Let's do it. And it's going to suck, but hey, don't be a pussy. Mindset is everything, right?
You are definitely not that, my friend. Definitely not that.
Yeah, and Sean was like, all right, we're going to do 5-minute rounds. He's like, this is going to be a marathon, not a sprint.
Because he's trying to get you to quit.
And and he was like, I'm gonna make you quit. And I was like, fuck, all right. And and I was like, do you want to wear the little gloves? And you know, it's funny because like before this, High Rollers had reached out because I've competed on High Rollers with Jake Shields actually in the past. Like him and I, he was awesome. You know, Jake Shields is a legend, and he was gracious enough to do a charity match for my charity, Adopt a Cop BJJ. We pay for police officers to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu until the rank of blue belt. That's awesome. And so anyway, like we did a whole cops versus stoners event to raise money for it, and Jake was the team captain of the team stoners, and I was the team captain of the cops. And that's awesome. So Jake and I had a match and stuff, and it was awesome. And so anyway, Jake was there, so High Rollers had reached out to Sean, and they were like, when all this, you know, initially went down, and they were like, hey, let's do a jiu-jitsu match between you guys. And then Sean made a post on Instagram. He's like, hey, High Rollers reached out to me. I'm not fucking doing jiu-jitsu with you. It's like, come to my gym and do the man dance. And I was like, all right. Yeah. Which obviously, you know, I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and that's kind of, you know, definitely what I compete in, you know, a lot more than MMA these days. I haven't fought MMA competitive. You know, I haven't done MMA since 2020. I am hoping to fight this summer. I don't know if I might have to push it back because of my leg right now, but thanks to Sean. But
how many leg kicks do you think you got hit with yesterday? Because you know, in the video,
shitload. But
dude, he caught you with a couple of those, like, you know, where you like just, you know, where it gets you right behind the hamstring and it lifts your leg up. I was like, oh,
I'll show you,
man.
I got some good. You see it?
Oh yeah.
Not so much here.
Yeah.
But right here.
That fucking tattoo must have hurt on the back of your leg too, dude.
Yeah. You know, what's funny about that tattoo? It did hurt extremely bad. And it was to the point where, you know, one of my old bosses his name's Tony Franco. He's he just retired from the SEAL teams, and he's a tattoo artist, and he owns a tattoo shop here in Rock and Roll Inc. in Kempsville, Virginia. And he did this tattoo for me, and it was hurting so bad. I was like, dude, I just need to fucking get just hammered and pass out. And he was like, go for it, bro. So I just like slammed a bunch of like vodka and just passed out. And I woke up. He woke me up when it was done, and I was like, sweet.
Dude, that's so funny because I actually was FaceTime with Anthony Smith one time while he was getting tattooed, and he looked like he wanted to die. And that's the exact same spot he was getting tattooed at. Did you have your trap? Do you have your traps?
I have. Yeah, I've got. Yeah, that sucked.
That was fucking miserable, dude.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking miserable. I was like, because I wasn't expecting it to be so bad, you know, like, because I had done here and it didn't hurt. And then, so I sat down, like, drastically underestimating how much it was going to hurt. And so it just made it fucking horrendous. Like, when I got the inside of my arm done, I had heard it was horrendous. And so I went into it like, God, this is going to be the worst shit ever. And so I was like, all right, that was semi-tolerable. So then when I did the other arm, I went into it like that wasn't even that bad, and it was fucking miserable. It's like all mindset, dude.
Mine was the opposite. I had this one done first, and it sucked pretty bad, and then this one was just super easy. So I don't know. It's hit or miss, and I'm just like, I go into it, I know it's gonna suck. Kind of just like the sparring session, like it's gonna suck, but you just got to do it. Go ahead. Yeah. Don't be a pussy. Mindset.
It's awesome. Like the first question I was going to ask you was like, so what was the plan? It's like promote your Instagram. It's like, that is the most Navy SEAL fucking answer ever. It's like, so how can I promote my Instagram? I'm going to go challenge like a fucking world champion who is known for going ham on sparring partners to a 5-minute or 5-round fight.
Well, yeah. So again, the 5-minute rounds was not my idea. Yeah. When we got there, Sean told me that's what we were going to do, and that he was going to break me and make me quit. And I was like, fuck. All right, well, this is going to suck.
You're not going to pussy out. You're like, all right, if that guess.
Yeah, no. So I was just like, all right, I'm already, I'm here for it, whatever. Yeah. And I asked him, I was like, do you want to do the small gloves and just not hit as hard, and then so that we can do grappling as well? And he was like, no, big gloves. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to be able to grapple. I'm not going to be able to do shit. So like, I wasn't sure, I knew that he was probably going to make a point, but I wasn't sure because we were cordial, there was no hostility really between us.
He's had very positive things to say about you today online. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, no. Like since we sparred, we talked a lot, and and we got along great. But and like I said before that, like we had these brief interactions and nothing negative, but I don't know, like, if he just kind of was going into it with a point to prove. I didn't know what because I knew it could go kind of either way. Mm-hmm. And then when we were like, all right, he was like, all right, let's go. And he had said like, all right, we'll warm up in the first round. And I was, and like traditionally when you spar with someone, like you kind of you're not trying to kill each other. You're just going, tit for tat almost, and just kind of matching each other's intensity. And I was like, okay, so I'm like curious to see what it's going to be, but I'm also very much thinking it's going to be what it's going to be, Yeah. And then when we came out and the first punch he threw was like pretty hard. And I was like, if that's his idea of like a warm up. Yeah. I was like, this is going to not be fun at all. And then like he started hitting me, and I was just like, yeah, this is definitely going to go in that direction. And he was like, it's going to be a long day for you. And I was like, I think you're right.
Yeah. And that was Eric that was filming, right?
Yeah, there was a bunch of people filming, honestly. Like
Nick Sick, he was there, right? Eric Nick Sick?
I had a camera guy there. Nina sent her camera guy. Eric was filming, Jake Shields was filming, my COO Kyle was filming. So I mean, the whole gym was like watching, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, this is I'm about to just get murdered,
dude. It's so funny because like Sean's like when he beat the shit out of Sneeko, you know, he's like I hate influencers. He's like fuck influencers. I'm like, I mean, you're kind of an influencer guy, you know, like you're a fighter and you're kind of an influencer too. It's like he's like I don't know. He's like he gets an idea of like, you know, that he's like, I fucking hate special forces guys. And then in both cases, he's like, I hung out with Sneeko. He's like a nice guy. He's like, and then I met Mitch. This guy's amazing. I'm like, yeah. I mean,
well, I mean, I get where he's coming from. You know, the disdain for influencers and like this whole like just downgrade of society, you know, that we've witnessed over the years because of social media, because of people chasing clout, because of people, you know, seeking attention rather than respect.
Dude, you know? I root for the pranksters to get beat up and shot every time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you're gonna fuck around and find out, you know.
Yeah.
And that's like what happened. And I think that's where he was with like the Sneeko situation. It's like, I think where Sean's coming from is ultimately it's just he wants respect, you know, and like this is his life's work. This is something that he is extremely serious about, dedicated to. His whole life is like this is his shit, and he's at the highest level of it. And you're not gonna just disrespect it by, oh, you're a YouTuber and you think this is fun and you want to just get views or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think that's where
you're just gonna fucking pay for it in blood. Right.
And that's where I think Sean's like mentality is towards that, you know, and which I don't want to speak for him, but that's just that's what I kind of assume. But anyway, yeah. So when it started, like 30 seconds into it, I mean, he was hitting me pretty hard and he had thrown a teep and you can see it in the video. In one of those little clips, the highlight clips, he threw a fucking hard teep and it just
straight to the solar plex.
It knocked the wind out of me. Like,
it's the worst.
Oh, dude. And it was like, I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Like this, it's so early on. Like, this is
that video was the first round. That first one.
I don't know if the teep was in the first round or the second round. It was very early though. And, but I already knew that it was going to suck. Like I said, 30 seconds in, the first couple hits, I was like, oh, he's, you know, and he was verbally saying like, this is going to be a long day for you. I'm going to make you quit. I'm going to make you quit. And I was he's like, you know, I don't want to knock you out. I want you to fucking quit. I want you to break and quit. And I was just like, fuck, man. So at that point, like literally, and Sean is like, he's a big dude. He's long. He's got like that, you know, real kind of awkward style, but it's super effective for he takes very little damage, you know, like he's very good at deflecting and I mean, he's fucking sparring the top guys in the world. He's sparring like the top boxers too. Like he, you know,
he's incredible
guys, boxers too. Like, so he's very fucking good. And you don't spar that fucking often and that many times and not just be good at evading. Absolutely. You know, he's phenomenal at. So like, and like it was very clear to me that like I wasn't going to be able to do really shit to him, you know. And so I was like, and I knew that his objective was to make me quit. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to fucking fight this guy. You know, I'm just going to take this fucking beating and I'm going to like try my best to defend and deflect these shots like as they're coming in as best I can. And, you know, just try to minimize the damage and just last the whole 25 minutes, you know, the 5 rounds. Cause that's a fucking long 25 minutes. I'll tell you that right now. Like, you know, I'm not a fucking bitch. I'm not a pussy.
Obviously.
I know how to fight. And I'm just telling you guys, like, Sean is at the highest fucking level and this is what he does. And, you know, and he
never gets fucking tired either.
It was very apparent to me. And, you know, and I was just like, all right, I'm just a punching bag at this point. I'm a fucking pinata. and so I'm just trying my best. And I figured, you know, if I expend a bunch of energy trying to fight him and just now I'm not going to be able to defend myself that much worse. You know, like when you are fatigued and exhausted, like fatigue makes cowards of us all, and you're fucked if you're fatigued. So like, and on top of that, like people were saying like I was gassed. I wasn't gassed. I wasn't using much energy. I was beaten. You know, like that takes out your fucking energy too. You know, just taking those hard fucking those hits that wince you, you know, and over, and I was just getting fucking lit up, you know.
He was lighting your body up.
Yeah, the legs, the body, and like just my, you know, my organs and everything were swelling up and keeping me, and man, you know, hitting me in the head too, like, and then you know, he was definitely like, he could have knocked me out in the first round, and it would have been way less damage. Like it would have been way easier for me to just get knocked out. You know?
That's what I was saying in my video. I was like, dude, it's like in jiu-jitsu where you know you can't win. There's a dude who's on you that knows you cannot, like the thing that would be the biggest favor they could do for you is to choke you. And
they get like, no. You'll see it in times. Like people just give up their neck because they're like, just take it. And you see that in MMA all the time. Like, you know, please, like, just end this, you know, but that's not like Sean was like, no, I want you to. You have to say, I'm done. Yeah, you have to ring the bell. You have to verbally quit. And I was just like, not fucking happening.
That's why that's what I was saying. That's why I thought it was so gangster. Like, it's like, because I know exactly what I'm looking at. He wants you to quit. Like, you win by not quitting, not by winning the fight. Like, you're not going to fucking win in a fight against Sean Strickland. That's what I was saying today in my live stream. I'm like, this is not a complicated equation, dude. There is no Navy SEAL that is going to beat Sean Strickland in a fucking cage fight. He's arguably the number 185-pound fighter in the world who's walking around at 220. If you put him in their combat environment, that is a completely different thing. It's like they're just not the same thing. It's just not the same thing, dude.
No, definitely not. And so anyway, like I just and at that point it was like, all right, like I'm just taking a fucking ass beating, and it definitely does suck. You know, it's not easy to stay in there and get fucking rocked over and over and in your face, and your, you know, in those leg kicks. Like if you guys
kicked you in the head at the end too.
Yeah. They gave me this little guy right here.
That looked like it was that one where like the ball of the ankle, like across the. It was a clean ass, you know,
kick to the forehead, and he was just like, you know, and that was the last second of the fifth round. Like he was making a point, like he wanted to knock me out, and and he was like, God damn, man. He was like, I forget what he said. He was like, that should have sent you to the shadow realm. Like, I don't know how the fuck you just ate that head kick. And I don't know, but yeah, it was a beat down for sure. And, you know, and at that point, like, you know, halfway through it, I'm like, well, I'm here essentially representing the SEAL teams, whether I want to be or not. You know, it's just essentially I am. And, you know, there's no fucking way that I could quit even if I wanted to. You know, I'd rather fucking die. So it's like, it is what it is. Yeah, no, he's a good dude. And then, you know, after hanging out and talking, he was like, fuck, man, like, you know, it changed his perspective on some SEALs and stuff. So, you know, so I thought like it was all cool and all positive. And then he was saying that he's like, all right, well, I should do some of the Bud style, you know, workouts or whatever. And he's like, and I want you to make me quit. And I was like, all right. And he's like, I probably will, because I'm a fucking pussy in the cold water. And, you know, I'm not trying to get a bunch of chafing from sand and stuff like that. But he was like, but, you know, we'll go into your world, and I want you to try to make me quit. And I was like, all right, cool. And I think that'll be a fun experience too. Yes. You know, get a couple of his teammates and stuff like that, and do some team building exercises. And it's a lot like, you know, it's funny because those pages posted, you know, the video of us sparring or whatever. And I was like, it's kind of symbolic. It's kind of like, this is kind of what Buds is like. It just fucking sucks. It's a total ass beating that you just have to endure and not quit. And, you know, and also how Sean was beating me is similar to how I'm going to beat him down in the Bud style workout. It's like you push people right to the edge, but you're not knocking them out, right? Like, but you're pushing people right to the edge and then pulling them back and then, you know, pushing them to that edge again. And that's what he was doing to me in the sparring session, you know? So it was like, to me, I'm like seeing all these like correlations or similarities, you know, and I just think it's really cool and entertaining and like educational and just a fucking good time, you know?
I'm excited that I get to be the one that puts out, you know, you talking about it, because it sounds, yeah, I mean, I would love to see how that shakes out with Sean on the beach. I was saying, like, because in my stream, people were asking you, they're like, you think Sean would get through Hell Week? And I'm like, yes, I do. And only because I just can't imagine him quitting in front of other dudes. I mean, I don't know, you know, obviously I never went through it, but I just mean like I can't imagine him quitting anything.
Buds is just it is such a unique animal because they are going to find your weakness. You're not gonna be solid everywhere. You can be, maybe you're a great runner, maybe you're a great swimmer, but you suck on the obstacle course, or you suck under the logs, or maybe you suck of boats on heads, or maybe, you know, you just get to the instructor's pressure gets to you, or, you know, it's a very cutthroat environment. They encourage you to expose the weak, you know. So if you have a bad day or you're bad at something, and now like one of you's bad in the boat crew, the entire boat crew's getting punished, and it's all because of this guy. Fucking get him out of here, expose him, you know, run him out of the boat, run him out of the log. And, you know, that's what I'm saying. It's just, there's so many factors. Maybe the sleep deprivation fucks with you too much. Maybe it's the cold. Maybe it's the, you know, running around, like, I don't know, like, it's just, there's so many different ways and like areas of attack. There's so many different angles that they're hitting you from, you know? So it's very hard to tell who's going to make it and who's not, because I remember, I mean, there was we had an Olympic swimmer in our class that quit. And
on the pool? Like quit?
I don't know what evolution he quit on. I mean, but there's you do all kinds of shit at Buds. Everything sucks. And, you know, and it's like, I remember one of the worst beatdowns we did was after Hell Week, and we had our wetsuits on. We went and hit the surf, got all wet and sandy, put sand all in our wetsuits. They had us get fucking head to toe sandy. And then we had to do a run around the base. And then we went into the classroom, and we put our feet up on the desks, and we were in like the leaning rest and the push-up position, and we had our feet up on the desk, and they just fucking chewed us out for 2 hours and just reaming our ass, and we're just sitting there like that in the push-up position, and every, like, you know, couple minutes they'd say, push them out, and you have to do fucking, I think it was 30 push-ups at the time, and so we're doing 30 push-ups and then just standing there, you know, in the leaning rest for 2 fucking hours. Nobody moved. And I mean, that you had people pissing themselves, like fucking sweat, tears, like people fucking like, you know, just like dying. And it's like, if you fucking, you know, they're just demanding that you keep fucking putting out, you know, keep fucking putting out. Oh, are you fucking quitting, you motherfucker? You know, and it's just giving it everything you fucking have. I mean, and I just remember the whole floor had like an inch or two of like just piss, sweat, and tears, you know?
That's so gnarly, dude.
And that was after Hell Week. And that was just a random ass beating because we were pissing the instructors off for whatever reason, maybe going too slow, or maybe who fucking knows, you know? That's just another random day at Buds. Yeah. That's just a Tuesday, you know? Yeah. That's a Tuesday.
But you got like, do people quit?
You know, and like, you have scheduled events too. So it's like you have log PT, you have oak course, you have a 2-mile ocean swim, you have fucking 4-mile time run.
Oh, so that was just extra for fun.
That was just a just because fuck you beating, you know? And yeah, and I remember in third phase, we got during rifle week where you're supposed to shoot a ton and like learn how to like really dial in your rifle. We shot the qual, so like we qualified, and then the rest of the time for the entire week we had to go wherever we were on the island on San Clemente Island. So you're out there for 5 weeks with no access to mail, no access to email, no access to phone, just isolated. And so anyway, for the whole week, no matter where we were, every hour on the hour, we had to run down to the beach and jump in the surf zone, get wet and sandy, and then go back to the grinder and do 50 burpees or 58 count burpees or whatever it was. And every hour on the hour, and like throughout the day, throughout the night, for the entire fucking week. It was so fucking miserable.
Wait, every hour on the hour for the week?
Yes. Yeah, and we were like sleeping in the fucking showers.
That sounds like fucking Chinese water torture times 100.
It sucked because you never actually get to like
never
fully
relax.
sleep. You're just kind of like, you just pass out and just crash for, however long. And then you got to get up and hit the surf again every hour on the hour. Mm-hmm. And then, so at nighttime we would just go do that. And then we would go sleep in the showers with the hot water running.
Oh, dude, that's probably your favorite place of Hell Week. Then was that hot water?
That wasn't Hell Week. That wasn't Hell Week.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in third phase. That was the last 5 weeks of Buds. Was
it nice in that shower? Because sleeping in the shower is kind of nice, man.
Yeah, that was like, I mean, as nice as it could be.
That's the most comfortable you're gonna get right there.
Dry.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, and it's no joke. That environment is fucking gnarly. It's serious. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. I remember the day we got back from the island. So we get back from the island and we're literally graduating tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Right. So we get back and they just took all of our bags. So like we had a big sea bag with all of our shit in it from the island, all of our stuff. And everything you have is like stenciled with your last name on it or whatever. So what's yours. But like they took all of our bags from the whole class and just dumped them on the grinder and mixed them all up and just sprayed them with fucking water and like sand and just made a fucking giant mess. And, we get back and we're having to do this. And I remember the white shirts that had like just checked into Buds. They're like, what phase are you guys in? We're like, we graduate tomorrow. Have fun.
That's gotta be why they do it, dude. Right? That's gotta be why they do it. Just to like let them know they're like, dude, that's mental warfare to them right there. They're like,
I mean, yeah, it is. It is a constant physical and mental just assault, and you never know who's gonna fucking hang and not. And like I remember being there, like because I went in right out of high school. And I remember seeing some of these guys like thinking like, damn, that guy looks like a SEAL, just fucking jacked and shredded, looks like a fucking oh shit, he just quit. Where is he going? Oh fuck, okay. And just
So how old were you when you went through it?
18.
Oh, you did Buds when you were 18?
I went in right out of high school, yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that. I thought like
yeah, Jeff Gum and I were in the same class.
And Jeff was 18 also?
No, Jeff had gone to college and stuff already.
Okay. What was the oldest guy in your class?
I believe in my class the oldest guy was 34.
Did he make it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Though I'm saying the oldest guy that made it.
Oh, okay. What's the oldest guy who tried?
I don't know. I know for a fact though that the oldest guy that ever went through was 40 and he was the honor man. So he like crushed it. But I know, like they say that the cutoff age limit is 28, and after that, you have to get a waiver. Mm-hmm. So it's possible, but yeah, I don't know. So
18 straight into Buds, and then so you were active until you were how old?
28. I did 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's wild, dude. We should do another one of these, and I'll fucking pick your brain on the next iteration of your SEAL career.
Yeah, sure.
Now, watching this back, I actually wanted to make sure that I even put this in here, that it's going to look like I'm on my phone dicking around while he's talking. And when I watch it back, it looks disrespectful enough that I'm like, I should actually note it. What I was doing on my phone is I was actually looking up his Instagram and the links that he was talking about. That's what I'm doing. So like, it's not like I was sitting here like texting Gabrielle. But here is where he talks about what he's working on and where you can find him. And that's basically the end of this video. And I would highly suggest you guys go check those things out. If you watch this far, why don't you go subscribe to all of his stuff and also subscribe to this channel. So, enjoy the last few minutes and that's it.
Yeah, and I'm actually just getting into online fitness coaching, and I'm doing mindset coaching as well. And so if that's something you guys are interested in, let me know. DM me coaching, so I know that that's what you're looking for. And, get your macros dialed in, get you on some workout programs, get your mind right. Body will follow.
Nice, man. Nice. So I appreciate you coming on, dude. This is good, dude. We'll do this again for sure.
Cool. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, dude.
All right.
And